today, so we'll go ahead and get started for Jasmine Thomas. Whichever one of you would like to go first, please go ahead.
Oh, you mean the two of us on Zoom, or is there something
in person?
My bad.
So yes, you're all set. If you have a question, Karen.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm getting very confused. So, hi, Jasmine. Thanks so much for joining us. I want to ask you a little bit about actually the playoffs. I mean, they started last night, and first I want to ask you, what was your reaction to last night's games, in particular, the one that went down to the wire late last night?
I mean, both games had a pretty good pace. I think that's the first thing you notice is that energy and just excitement to be in the playoffs. Teams are playing really fast. A lot of three-point shooting, a lot of just aggressiveness, a lot of fouls called, a lot of, just what you expect from playoff basketball. That second game, I didn't think I would be able to stay up for it, but I had to. It was just that good going down to the, last shot. It was a great game, big plays all around by a lot of people.
Great, I appreciate that. And, I want to zero in on New York a little bit. You as a player with experience being knocked out in single elimination 2 years in a row by that same it's not the same Mercury team, but it's the Mercury in, I believe, 2017 and 2018. How do you think the Liberty can build on what happened last night? What do you remember from how you and your team built on those losses in those years?
I mean, just one, you get that bitter taste, where that you learn from disappointment. So that feeds you in itself, just that hunger to want to, play harder and play smarter in advance. But also you just watch the film. It's different when you play the same team, same personnel year after year and get knocked out versus, who knows who they may be matched up against next year, who knows what their situation may be next year. But from this specific game, I don't know, I feel like you just learn defensively. I feel like that was the biggest thing, at least when I was watching, Sophie Cunningham got going pretty good, and you adjust in game while they were playing. I'm sure it was to take away DG, which they did a pretty good job of. Other people step up and being able to adjust in game and then personnel making decisions is probably something they can grow from.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Alex?
Hey there, Alex Hazzy with NBC Sports and On Her Turf. Thanks for taking the time today. I've asked a couple of your teammates this question, but I'm curious for your take. If there was a moment this season or a game or a practice where it was like, man, this is a really special group of people and we can do something cool this year.
I feel like we had that moment a few times this season with this group, but I don't know. I feel like one of our Dallas games in Dallas, if it was maybe our last one, that one felt like a game where, I don't know, it was starting a long road trip. So I think just everyone's focused to want to finish the season off strong, and everyone contributed, and everyone playing well, everyone being ready from the starters to the bench. That was a game, but there have been so many throughout the season where it's felt that way. And honestly, our practices as of late have been some of the most competitive, strong, focused practices that we've had. And I think that's a good feeling going into the playoffs.
Are those practices the result of having this double bye? Is that a benefit that you see as a result of having the #1 seed?
I think so. It's a long season. You play a lot of games, short amount of time, and I think you obviously get tired, you get some bumps and bruises throughout the team. So to be able to rest some of that, definitely, a bonus from the double bye, but also to be able to work on yourselves. When you don't have an opponent yet, you get to really focus on, just fine tuning our offense and our defense.
Well, thanks so much.
Yep, thank you.
Jackie, do you have another question for Jasmine?
I do. I'm sorry. So, in general about this playoff structure, you've been on this team that has both reaped the benefits and then some of the disadvantages of this playoff structure that's been installed, I think, since 2016. So what do you think would be the most advantageous to the growth of the league to try to maybe help develop more rivalries and fan engagement, amid the whole single elimination thing that we've got going on here?
I don't know. I feel like you said, being on both sides of it, single elimination seems unfair sometimes, when you worked your way into a playoff or, put yourself in a position to, be one of those top advancing teams, and then, you only got that one game to show it, and anything can happen in that one game. You kind of see a series as a professional format, that's how it's done in NBA, that's how it's done in a lot of, sports. It's usually a series. So single elimination can be unfair, but what it does do is it brings a lot of excitement to the league, just like in the NCAA tournament, you get that excitement and energy around, that one and done, that needing to play hard, do gritty in that first game. So I really don't know. I think the format has done a lot of good things for viewership, but you would like to see some teams get a little bit more of a chance.
I guess the point I want to make, and I think you started to address this, is there isn't potential for consistency. So it's like, an example of that is 2 years ago in 2019, the Sky and the Aces play each other, the hand beheave happens, there's all that intense energy, and then that's it. There isn't this potential to build on, I guess, the narrative that came out of that really big moment, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. I don't know what can be done to really fix that, or, I don't know with how the season is going, with how the CBA has changed, with, commitments with overseas and whatever, how this season goes. I don't know how they can lengthen that, but, maybe if they decide to go back to conferences, I don't know. But I think playoffs are still pretty exciting right now, the way they are.
I appreciate that, Jasmine. I do. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
We'll bring B over. Okay. We'll go ahead and open up some questions for Beatrice. If there's any questions. Okay. And there's only two of you, so the pressure's on.
Yeah, it is just the two of us. Hi, B. Thanks for joining us. I wanted to get your reaction to the two playoff games last night. What did you make of that? And what did you see, especially from that second one that really went down to the wire?
To be honest, the second one, I only saw the first half of it. I fell asleep through halftime. So the first quarter, I felt the intensity, how New York was a lower seed and how they came out ready to play. So
I appreciate that. Sleep is important. I did not get any. Also, I do want to ask you a bit about this playoff structure, because you were on a Sun team last year that had to deal with single elimination, and sort of now you're at a point where, you've got this bye, you've got a real series. So what I want to know is, what do you think, from your perspective, would be the most advantageous type of playoff structure? Do you think that single elimination really works, especially when this is a league that's really trying to engage the fans, and sometimes you lose that, in just one game rather than a series, trying to buy into the storylines?
I feel like single elimination rounds give excitement to the game. Also, last year, my first year playing overseas, we were the best 2 out of 3, and I feel like that could be a possibility. Just giving a team the opportunity to showcase what they have, what they've been playing for all season. So I just feel that take on there. I mean, this year, my first year with a double bye and playing a 5-game series. Without having to play in a single elimination. So yeah, I really don't know much.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Alex.
Hey there, I'm Alex with NBC Sports and On Her Turf. Would love to get your thoughts. Something I've asked a few of your teammates about is if there was a moment for you this season where you kind of had a realization moment, like, oh, this is a special group of people and we can do something big.
I feel like the game, when we played in Phoenix, like a couple weeks ago, that game really stand out to me because, you know, it was such a close game and how we all came together, just trying to win the game. You know, we're always focused, it didn't matter who was on the court. We had one goal and that was to win the game.
So that was the game. I think you ended their win streak and you continued Connecticut.
Yes.
That's pretty late in the season. Is there a reason why, like earlier on, are you just the type of person like you like to wait and see?
Yeah, I'm the type of person that I like to wait and see, but like I felt like we were special throughout. Even before Olympic break, I felt this team was special. We could go all the way and actually win the WNBA championship.
Cool. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, ladies. We'll bring assistant coach Chris Planis. If you have questions for him, I messed up the media guide and accidentally put Kurt for the whole week. Jackie, you can go ahead and go first.
All right. Hi, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. So first, I want to know if you were able to catch the late night Mercury Liberty game last night and what your reactions were to how that all went down.
So I'm probably the worst person on set to ask that question. I go to bed at 8:30 every night.
Oh no.
So I was filled in and I watched some replays, but I wasn't watching it live. So unfortunately, I don't have a good answer for you. I apologize there.
It's all right, but you know what happened, right? So it's not okay. Okay. So you know, what I asked Jasmine earlier was this idea about how the Sun in years past, and don't mind me if I'm getting this wrong as to how long you've been with the Sun. I was expecting Kurt, my bad. But this Sun team in the past, they had been knocked out by the Mercury in 2017 and 2018. And, you know, the Liberty are in a similar position now. So I guess what I want to know from you, from a coach's perspective, is how do you think New York can build on what happened last night? I mean, from what you've seen of the job Kurt has done in those years, you know, how do you build on those losses?
Everything's a learning opportunity, right? I mean, you control what you control, right? Officiating is officiating. Things are so many things. There's so little that's actually in your control. So you just got to go out there and play as hard as you can and trust that your preparation, your effort was good enough, and you put forth your best effort, and then the results are going to be what the results are going to be. So I mean, New York's got a new staff. They're building on some good things. They've got some good players. They got a system they believe in, and they're finding pieces that fit that. So things are looking up for them if they just keep doing what they're doing and believing in what they're doing.
I appreciate that. I do. And the final one from me is just, I want to ask you a little bit about your thoughts regarding this playoff structure. You know, the Sun have been through both. You know, you guys dealt with single elimination last year, and this year you now have the double bye. So I'm curious from the standpoint of growing the league, what do you think would be most advantageous? You know, maybe does this single elimination structure allow for, rivalries and as a result, fan engagement?
I mean, I can see both sides of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a long season, you play a lot of games, and to have that rest upon one game is tough. But there's so much excitement, right? There's so much buzz around a win or go home, one and done. So I get both sides of it that way. And again, we lived through that and felt some type of way, but ultimately, you put in the work over the course of the whole regular season, and you put yourself in a position to have home court, whether that's for a single elimination game or if you're lucky enough to get a bye into the semis. You get rewarded for your body to work in the season, like the regular season still matters. So yeah, I see both sides of it. I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other. I see both sides of it. You know, for the players' sake, you know, they would love to at least 2 out of 3. You know, just a bit more of another game can give a chance to make an adjustment, and you know, anything can happen in 40 minutes, but 80 minutes, 120, you know, does that give the better team or the team that, you know, performed better over a longer period of time in the regular season, you know, more of a time to advance and push forward. So I'm not gonna stir the pot there, sorry.
No, it's okay. I appreciate what you were able to provide. It helps. Thank you.
Yeah.
Alex, any questions for you?
A quick follow-up on the 8:30 bedtime, because I tend to be an early sleeper too. How often does that interfere with like team activities?
Well, I mean, not much, actually. What team activities? So Kurt's a morning person, I'm a morning person, so we meet really early, where we get our best work done in the morning. That's just how we operate, but, it's just how I've always been. So we're up early, we're at it early, and then, make sure we get some rest at night, because, you know, that's just as important, right?
Cool. That was it from me. Thanks.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.